Well, and yeah, and it works in not just physical situations, but life situations too. It's like, how many times have people been in some kind of sticky situation where they don't see a way out, right? And they just spin their wheels, just worrying all the time, like, how am I going to solve this problem? And never look to find solutions because they're so focused on the impossibility of whatever the situation is. Well, meditation can allow you to find those answers and solutions, by eliminating the force of your state of where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're free to explore and come up with answers. I mean, I do that all the time. I've been doing that since God, I was a little kid, since I got into meditation.
Yeah.
It really helps. It's like, you just need to stop and take a minute and ponder, like, again, like with clarity.
Yeah.
Um, and then you can typically find a way out, or multiple pathways. There's always more than one way out.
Yeah. There's
Um,
definitely like a cluttered feeling in the brain that
mhm.
you come to notice when you've practiced meditating a few times. Like, and it's totally a thing, just like if your hallway is full of a bunch of your kids' toys or something. Like you
Mhm.
gotta think about stepping around the Legos and say, stuff like
Yeah,
that. And that takes your attention away from other things.
sure.
So
Not
like,
only that, but if you're organized, you can find something
right.
rather than having it just kind of strewn about. It's like, oh, well, I know exactly where that thing is, that tool, because this is the spot for it. And then you can also know when it's not there too. And like, and you can do the same thing with your mind.
Yeah.
Organize your mind, and yeah. Anyway,
And
sorry.
that's basically building like a strong infrastructure in the connectome, right?
Mhm.
Like you're creating with purpose this pathway in your brain to recall an event or something,
Mhm.
like whatever it is. Muscle memory even is pretty much probably the same sort of effect of meditation.
Mhm.
um like, and that's super useful.
Sure.
um
Well, it's like a tool. You're adding tools to your mental toolbox.
mhm.
Like, for instance, training, right? Like, say, the military, they train, and when they're in a situation, like there's an attack or whatever, something happens, that they just go into autopilot because the training has been established.
Yeah.
You don't think about it. Like, I do firearms training and practice, and if I had to use a firearm in a defensive situation, I wouldn't be like thinking, where is my hand? Where's the safety? Like, how do I hold a firearm? It's like, it's just automatic now. And so that you can do that with almost anything. And maybe you can also do that with physical pain mitigation too. Like, have a tool, like a mental tool that you deploy whenever
Yeah.
there's pain. Like, okay, this, like I have for migraines. Like, here's my checklist, essentially, my uh ball of fury that I can unleash on that to stop it from happening. Like, and the Hadouken, essentially. And
Yeah. Yeah, there's like uh shit, I might have lost it. I need to meditate. Oh no,
mm,
no, I found it. It's like I often even say this: I need to defrag my hard drive, right?
mhm.
And you remember back in the day, you actually had to think about that and run that process, and now it's all automated.
Yeah,
Like, why aren't we putting meditation classes into schools?
it's a very good idea. Well,
Like, teach people how to do this early on, make it part of the regimen,
sure.
build the
Well,
muscle memory.
absolutely. And I think that would go so far to improving not only mental health, but physical health as well. Um,
ADD would probably not be such a big
yeah,
deal then. Like, it
especially if you
meditation
start
really
early.
could help that. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Well, because, yeah, meditation, like knowing how to meditate certainly like helps in all sorts of situations where you can kind of essentially zero out all those influences and kind of float through your mind and ponder things
Yeah.
individually. I used to do, back when I was starting learning meditation, like one of my uh starting points, I guess, were like how I would kind of begin is I would sit there, I close my eyes, and I would imagine a shape, right? Like some kind of shape. And then in my head, I would rotate it in 3 dimensions and try to hold that visual image in my mind of the shape. And it's very difficult to do. Your mind is trying to flip all over the place all the
Oh
time.
yeah.
But the more I could do it, eventually I got to the point where I could like fully rotate something in my head and got more complex shapes and connected shapes and things. And like that was my I guess it's like what would be a, I don't know the term, I can't really think of it, but it's basically when I sat down to meditate, that's what I would do to
Uh,
start, and it
oh yeah,
worked.
yeah, like a warm up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that because what that does, like it takes so much focus to maintain and hold that image, that all the other stuff that you're thinking about kind of just goes to the peripheral edges of your mind.
Mhm.
And now all you have is this shape, and then from that point, then you have to actually bring the other thoughts back consciously for them to come back.
Yeah.
And so you can keep them out there, whatever your worries are, whatever the things that you're concerned about are, even physical things like pain and stuff. um
People
and
meditate without knowing it too.
yeah.
Like things like going for a drive to listen to music and clear your head, right?
Yep.
That's meditating.
Oh yeah, for some
Shower
people.
thoughts. Shower thoughts are meditation.
Yep.
Like, oh, I'm bored in here, like, just think about things. And even though that's scattered, people have this misconception that meditation is, it means that all of a sudden you're like focused and disciplined on one thing. No, it's actually quite the opposite. Like
Mhm.
you're purposely looking at the mess and deciding what to like throw in the recycle bin and what you want to put somewhere, and think about where you want to put it, and
Yeah. Well, and
solve
yeah,
problems.
sure. For some people, gardening, they do that to kind of clear their head. Maybe
Mhm.
the people go for a jog, a walk in the woods or something. And it's like that's the time where you're amongst nature, and nature is all that matters when you're in the woods.
Yeah,
And that's a meditative thing as well. I
yeah,
think though the disconnect with those things is that right there, that's the opportunity to actually do the meditative work. And a
yeah.
lot of people, it's sort of like you just get away for a minute and then you come right back without having done any kind of mental work. And that's
But
where
it's still good. It's still
it
good.
is.
It's like brushing your teeth 30 seconds is better than not at all, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it still helps, but there's
yeah,
there's there's opportunities there that could be
yeah.
taken advantage of that
Mhm.
would help even more.
Mhm. Wow, holy shit. From
Man, this
long
is,
COVID to meditation.
well, it's the whole brain body connection thing. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think,
I can't believe we haven't really done an episode on that before.
no, I know that is kind of wild. Yeah. And or meditation. And I mean, we could certainly expand on some of these things, but I think we've covered it pretty well.
Actually, I think you've thought of this before too, but like, let's see what the fans think. Would you like to have kitchen sink microscopy guided meditations?
Ooh, that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I've actually created some before, like for my wife when she was going through a hard time. I, like made a voice recording when I still lived in the States and
Hmm.
she was here in Germany, and I couldn't really help in a physical sense, right?
Hmm.
So I did the best I could by like creating a guided meditation. Um, and
Man,
it's and especially since we have the ability to write like ambient music.
I was gonna say we could tie
Um,
it into our hobby there of music
yeah,
writing. Yeah, and we could do ones where it's either one of us or both of us at the same time,
Hmm.
and kind of going back and forth or something. Because I know a lot of people do find our voices to be soothing and relaxing.
Hmm. Yeah, I've
Um,
heard that feedback
like a
before.
lot of people listen to go to sleep or something.
We here at Kitchen Sink Microscopy put people to sleep.
Yeah, that's right.
But not in a boring way,
Yeah, it's a good
in a
thing.
calm, soothing way.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
smooth, sultry sounds of kitchen sink microscopy after dark.
Oh man, yeah. So I'd like to hear that. If people want us to attempt to put something together, we could probably do that. And I'd also like to hear people's comments about if you have long COVID yourself, what are your experiences, or something similar, or if you meditate, and your experiences with meditation. That would be, or migraines too. I'm
Mhm.
deeply interested in migraines, having been a migraine sufferer for so long. Um, yeah, I'd like to hear all those thoughts. So
Yeah, even
anyway,
prayer.
oh yeah,
Has it worked for you? Has it not worked? Has it made things worse? Um, and even that's tied into meditation and
hmm,
psychosomatic events and things of that nature. So like, yeah, all this stuff
well,
super connected.
absolutely. Well, prayer for certain in certain uh, circles is akin to like a uh, what is it? It's like you get a trance, like a ritual trance kind of thing,
Uh-huh.
and that
Uh-huh.
that in itself is sort of like meditation as well.
Absolutely.
So, and I mean, usually it's kind of tied to prayers or song or whatever, for some particular purpose. And
It's
yeah,
also like casting a spell in
yeah,
Wiccan
yeah,
religion,
sure, and
people might think, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit, but it's really just a different way of doing exactly what you're doing.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe there is something to this,
Hmm.
that like those things didn't just emerge randomly, haphazardly, like somebody said, oh, we're going to do this one day. I think it
Yeah.
emerged because it's part of our psychology. It's
Yeah.
part of our being that we are just tapping into, and people are spreading it out to groups and things
Yeah.
like that.
And the important rational thing to remember in that is that there probably is, as we've discussed in this episode, an actual, tangible, explainable, physiological reason for why that might work sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not contingent on the universe or God or fate or destiny, and all these like hand waving things. It's all in your mind, even fits
Mm-hmm.
into that box. So like there are explanations. We just have to find them.
Sure, I agree. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I would have to say, like, because I do to some extent believe in some of these things, but my view on it is that the things you can affect through rituals and stuff like that, and spell casting or whatnot, prayer, the only things that you can affect are internal things,
Yeah. Yeah.
not external. You can't be like, oh, I want to make it rain, or something like that. That you can't
Right.
do
Right.
that, but you can certainly potentially
With the
improve.
exception of psychology in an external fashion. Like
Yeah,
you can affect others in that way.
yes, sure.
But yeah, like not rain. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna make it rain, or bring the crops or something like that.
Mhm.
um but you could certainly improve yourself in some way. uh
Yeah.
Certainly, at the very least, it could improve your mood.
Yeah.
Like that's valuable enough. I mean, that's what people chase their entire life,
I mean,
is
I
being
guess a
happy.
rain dance could bring rain, but that would be one hell of a butterfly effect.
Yes. Yeah. Or it would take quite some kind of elaborate dance to yeah.
Hmm.
Like a million people doing the dance all at once. I'm sure that could impact the weather or something.
New reality show. So you think you can rain dance?
A rain flash dance brings flash floods.
Of purple rain.
Purple Rain. Yeah. Oh man. Well, yeah. And speaking of music, then I think that's probably a time to bring this episode to a close. And
Purple haze, purple haze. No, that's not right.
well, yeah. Go ahead and listen to the snippet of the song at the end, which I'm sure
Which will be neither of those songs.
nope.
But it should be something purple.
Maybe. Yeah. I think we might have something in that. Maybe. I'll have to look.
Purple kitchen
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody have a good day, morning, night, whatever.
Whatever
you
side of
are.
the globe you're on.
Yep. And take it easy.
Connecting on that level, having that much immersion and saturation, growing together, going through hardships together. I struggle to see how there would be kind of a parallel in the poly realm. Who do you lean on in hard times?
Well, everybody. If there is a crisis, rather than having only one person, you have multiple people who care about you. Now you have almost like a team.
If you can find them, maybe you can hire the poly team.